There is a place in Hokkaido that feels like it was left behind by time. Not just a single old building, but an entire town preserved from another era. This is the Historic Village of Hokkaido, an open-air museum made up of relocated and restored buildings from Hokkaido's Meiji to early Showa periods. More than preserving old architecture, it brings of the everyday life of Hokkaido's frontier era back into view. For a town to function, it needed structure. Government offices and the police stations were part of the backbone of daily life. This is the former Urakawa sub-prefectural office building. Built in 1919, it originally served as a local government office. So more than just an old building, it represents how an administrative order was being established in Hokkaido at the time. Today, it serves as an exhibition space, introducing how people in Hokkaido kept warm during the long, harsh winters of the past. It also displays historic photographs from the 1890s to 1800s. Along with the reconstruction of the office interior from that time. This is the former police box at the Minami Ichijo of the Sapporo police station. The current building was rebuilt in 1911 in central Sapporo, and it was often nicknamed the Red Brick Police Box. More than just a small station, it shows how urban order and public security were already becoming part of everyday life in early Hokkaido. After seeing the former sub-prefectural office building and the police box, the town already feels well-structured. One presents administration, the other public order, together showing that this was more than just a place where people lived. It was a town with its own system. But a real town wasn't only made up of offices and institutions. For people traveling through in those days, having a place to rest was just as important. And that's where this inn comes in, a space where travelers could stop and stay for a while. If a government office and a police box represent order, this inn presents pause and the passage. Originally located in front of Nagayama Station in Hasakikawa, it served travelers moving through the region. Places like this giving people somewhere to rest, making the town feel not only structured, but truly lived in. After the inn, the town begins to feel even more lived in, because a place like this wasn't only shaped by travelers passing through, but also by the routines of everyday life. And that starts to appear in places like the drugstore, the general store, and the barbershop. This old drugstore gives the town a more personal side. Because history doesn't only live in government offices and the public buildings, it also lives in ordinary moments like getting medicine, caring for your family, and dealing with the small concerns of everyday life. Places like this making the past feel much closer. And just like medicine, daily necessities were part of life here too. A town only really comes alive when you begin to imagine the small things people came here to buy, use, and carry home. The general store feels like one of the easiest places to imagine. You can almost picture people step in for small everyday things, exchanging a few words, and then heading back out into the cold. It's such an ordinary place, but that's exactly why it makes the town feel real. And then there are places that feel even more personal, not just where people bought what they needed, but where they sat down, stayed for a while, and became part of the rhythm of the town. This barbershop is one of those spaces that instantly feels human. It's easy to imagine people coming in, sitting down, talking for a bit, and leaving with the fresh haircuts before going back to their day. Compared with large public buildings, a place like this makes the past feel smaller, warmer, and much more personal. So far, we have seen how people live in this town, but an era is not only lived through, it's also recorded. And that's where places like the newspaper office and the photo studio became especially interesting. The newspaper office represents the public memory of the town. This is where information would have been gathered, shaped, and shared, turning everyday events into something larger than a single moment. It reminds you that even in a place like this, people were already living a world connected by news, stories, and the record of what was happening around them. And if newspapers preserved public memory, photo studios preserved personal memory. One recorded the life of the town. The other held on the faces and moments people wanted to remember. This photo studio feels especially moving because photography turns a passing moment into something that can stay. It's easy to imagine families, couples, and individuals coming here to be photographed. Not for history in the grand sense, but for memory in a deeply personal one. That's what makes a place like this so beautiful. It preserves not just an era, but the human desire to hold on to it. By the end of this walk, it feels like what has been preserved here is more than old architecture. What remains is a whole way of life, administration, travel, work, routine, memory, and all the small details between. That's what makes the historic village of Hokkaido so special. It doesn't just show you old buildings, it lets you feel how an earlier Hokkaido once lived.